Well, hello everyone. This is Laura Gregory, and I am coming to you from Gurnett College, and we will be discussing for week number 5 in nutrition today, 2 chapters, chapter 15 and chapter 20. Let's get started with chapter 15 on weight management, okay? This chapter examines the problem of weight management and seeks a more positive and realistic health model that recognizes personal needs and sound weight goals. So we have 25 slides to go over, and there's going to be about 12 very important points I want you to write down in regards to this chapter. And as I always say, every slide is important, but I will let you know when I feel that there is something that I really want you to delve further into. And of course, feel free to delve further into any slide that you want to on any of these chapters. Okay, let's get started. Lesson 15.1, Causes of Obesity and Risks of Food Fads. So, underlying causes of obesity include a host of various genetic, environmental, and psychological factors. Short-term food patterns or fads often stem from food misinformation that appeals to some human psychologic need. However, these fads do not necessarily meet the physiological needs of your body. Let's see, on this next slide, on page 245 in your ebooks, we're going to introduce this part here. Currently in the United States, there are 68.5% of adults are overweight, probably more at this point now, and 35% are considered obese. Obese means, do the people you see at school or work meet this statistic? Do those in your family meet this statistic? Good questions. And 6.4% are extremely obese. 17% of children and adolescents are considered obese. All right. Oops, I just went over that, sorry. And now obesity and weight control on page 245. Definitions. Overweight is body weight that is above the population weight for height standard. Obesity is the relative excess amount of fat in the total body composition, the body mass index of 30 or greater. Body composition is the relative sizes of 4 body compartments that make up the total body. There's lean body mass, which is muscle mass, fat, water, and bone. Body mass index on page 245. On page 246. Let's see, let me go back one slide here. Hold on. Oh, it won't let me go back, darn it. All right, so let's talk a little bit about obesity and the weight control on page 245. For some reason, it's not letting me skip back, so let's go ahead and just talk about it real quick. One of the most important factors in determining fatness or leanness is body composition. So I want you to realize that and jot that down, that body composition is the relative sizes of the 4 body compartments that make up total body. Lean body mass, which is muscle mass, fat, water, and bone. So the most important factor in determining fatness or leanness is considered body composition. All right, now we're going to talk about body mass index on page 246. So I want to encourage you guys to get your little cell phones out and go to BMI calculator and look at the CDC website. So BMI calculator CDC, you'll put in the search engine, and you'll come up with a calculator where you'll put in your height and your weight, and you're going to put in however many feet. It's all in inches. So if you're 5 feet, you're going to multiply times 12, and you're 5 feet 5, add 5 inches. It'll give you your body mass index. Luckily, finally, after losing a little weight, mine is at 24 right now, which is considered normal. So you'll see whether you're considered normal classification, overweight, obese, or clinically or extremely obese. So I encourage you all to get out your BMI calculator for the CDC website and check out your body mass index. That'll give you maybe some incentive to work on dietary needs. And then you can also use your nutrition project that you're working on as well. That'll help motivate you. All right. So the next thing we want to talk about is waist circumference and increased risk. So there's some things that also, besides BMI, you can check a person's risk factors by checking their waist circumference. For men, if they're greater than or equal to 40 inches, then they are at risk. Women that are greater than or equal to 35 inches, they're at risk. For the vast majority of population, BMI coupled with waist circumference is closely associated with health risks stemming from excess body fat. All right, obesity and weight control on page 246. Body composition measurements. Body fat calipers, that's that instrument that you see in the picture there, where you squeeze up the back of the arm and it has a little pinchers on it. I remember back in high school they used that on us in PE. So it measures the width of the skin fold at precise body sites. The reliability varies with skill of the technician. Let's see, obesity and weight control on page 247. There are body composition measurements. There's hydrostatic weighing, which requires complete submersion of an individual in water. So it is very important for you to know that the most precise method for determining body composition is underwater weighing, or also called hydrostatic weighing. This information is found on page 246 and 247 in your ebook, and that's important to know about. Also, there's a scale, as you could see in the picture. It's called a bioelectrical impedance analysis scale. It's a scale. It's pretty easy. It's portable. It's inexpensive, and it's a non-invasive tool. It actually sends some pulse waves through your feet. You have to step on there barefooted, and it lets you know your percentage of bone, water, fat, muscle, that sort of thing. Just FYI. All right. Obesity and weight control on page 248. A body fat content. For men within the range of 21 to 25.8 of total body weight is associated with the lowest risk of chronic disease for men between ages 20 and 79. For women of the same age, the ideal range is somewhat higher. We gals get to be 32.2 to 36.9% body fat content before we're considered to be having health risks. Obesity and weight control on page 248. Measurements of weight and maintenance goals, standard height and weight tables. We also use healthy weight ranges. There's the Hamwe method. There's also healthy weight ranges for people who have specific body frames and individual variations, like if you're small boned, medium boned, large boned. The necessity of body fat is also still important. Obesity and health, we want to weigh weight extremes are clinically severe or significant for obesity. This is a health hazard. Obesity increases the risk of related conditions such as hypertension and type 2 diabetes. That's very important for you to know. When somebody is obese, they have a very high related risk of hypertension and type 2 diabetes, as well as heart disease, arthritis, and certain types of cancer. All right. So, as we spoke before, ideal weight is based on many factors. Sometimes it's your body frame. It depends on your height, your weight, your age, and that sort of thing, okay? All right. Causes of obesity on page 250. All right, let's see here. Oh, and we did already talk about one of the very important things on page 250 is overweight and health problems. Obesity is high risk for related conditions of hypertension and diabetes. So that we discussed on the previous slide. So now let's talk about on page 250, causes of obesity. First of all, we need to know about our basic energy balance, hormonal control of leptin and ghrelin, genetic and environmental factors, genetic control, has something to do also with your obesity associated with genetics. Family reinforcement to teach food habits that exert social pressure. Physiological factors are a number of fat cells in your body. Psychological factors are potential emotional stress. Other environmental factors are availability of energy-dense food, fast foods, and convenient foods. The most significant contributing factor to the increase in obesity in the United States, however, and this is something important for you to know, the most significant contributing factor to the increase in obesity in the United States is lack of exercise. Not only are the above information on page 250 contributing factors to obesity, but lack of exercise is the #1 contributing factor in the United States. Therefore, there's something we can do about it, right? We could start exercising, get up and move. Individual differences and extreme practices on page 252. Individual energy balance levels. Energy out versus energy in. Some also extreme practices are fad diets. Scientific inaccuracies and misinformation are associated with fad diets, failure to address the necessity of changing long-term habits, and many fad dieters are caught in a vicious cycle of chronic dieting syndrome, and it's harmful, both physical and psychological, for the person who is a chronic dieter. Also on page 252, extreme practices. Okay. Fasting means negative health effects and rebound effect. An example of an extreme weight loss measure is considered fasting. Fasting is an example of an extreme weight loss measure. That's important to know on page 252. Also, specific macronutrient restrictions. There's no evidence to support and carry health risks. Clothing and body wraps cause temporary water loss, so those seaweed wraps and plastic wrapping and heating yourself up and all those things that people do can just really basically cause temporary water loss, and it comes right back the minute you start drinking some fluids. So that's an extreme practice. Drugs, the FDA regulates and should be combined with lifestyle changes. So if you are taking, say, diet pills, if it's should be an FDA regulated diet pill, and it should also be under the guidance of a nutritionist or a physician, so that you're also changing your lifestyle eating habits and you make important choices that are associated with long-term weight loss rather than just taking a diet pill and eating whatever you want in smaller portions. Also, there's surgery, gastric restriction, and lipectomy, where you remove adipose cells. All right, the next thing we want to go over are these 2 surgeries called adjustable gastric band. It's an AGB, so it just kind of puts a tightener around the top of the stomach. There's a Roux-en-Y bypass, where they actually remove a part of your stomach, and they reconnect your gut to the lower part of the intestines. So these surgical procedures are usually reserved for severely obese patients who have not had success in other weight loss methods. So like that My 600 Pound Life show, I love to watch that show. Anyway, this is the type of surgeries that they have once they qualify, and they have to have special psychological counseling and things like that. They have to lose a certain amount of weight and prove that they could lose weight before they would be approved for their surgery. All right, moving on to weight management tools and risks of being underweight. Wished I had that problem. All right, realistic weight management focuses on individual needs and health promotion, including meal pattern planning and regular physical activity. Severely underweight carries physiological and psychological risks to the body. A sound weight management program, which is discussed on page 256 in your ebook. The essential characteristics are food and exercise behavior. So in order to have a sound weight management program, you must have behavior modification. It's important to know you should modify your behavior. The basic principles are cue, response, and consequences. Basic strategies and actions are defining problem behavior, like I always have to have something crunchy when I'm laying in bed at night watching my 600-pound life. Or, if you have a problem behavior, I eat at night and I eat high calorie food before I go to bed, that kind of thing. That's a problem behavior. Recording and analyzing baseline behavior. So if you start jotting everything down that you ate all day, you would be surprised how many calories you're taking in that you really didn't need. And planning behavior management strategies. So you need to come up with a strategy on how you're going to decrease your calories, increase your dense foods, the things that are healthy for you, and still allow yourself a little bit of a snack now and then so that you don't feel like you're missing out and have a rebound once you go off your new lifestyle changes. All right. So dietary modification on page 258. So it's important to know that a realistic goal for weight loss would be 1/2 to 1 pound per week. That's important to know because negative energy balance. So what you have to do is cut back on your amount of calories that you take in this particular model of what they're talking about. So say you have an 1,800 calorie per day diet, and we know that we've been looking at that myplate.gov, and a lot of people are said to maintain their weight. They need 1,800 calories per day. So what we want to do is make a negative energy balance of 500 to 1,000 calories per day. If you can cut out 500 to 1,000 calories per day, then you would be able to realistically lose 1/2 to 1 pound per week. So other things you need to keep in mind are cultural appeals. So you need to allow for a permanent change in habit. You need to also find a way to include your culturally appealing food. And it has to choose nutrient-dense foods, things that are full of nutrients for your calories, because you don't want to eat up all your calories with non-nutritive food, because then you're not going to have enough nutrition to maintain your muscles and that sort of thing. Energy readjustment to maintain weight when the desired weight is reached. So after reading this slide and discussing this information with you, it is important to know that an effective method for weight reduction includes behavior modification. So be sure and know that. Also, personal motivation is the most important key to a successful weight loss program. You must be personally motivated in order to be successful at your weight loss program. Some people say, oh, I have a wedding coming up, or I have this, or I have that, or I just want to be thinner. I'm tired of being overweight and sluggish, or I'm tired of getting bigger clothes. I want to go back to a size something. You have to have some sort of personal motivation to make you want to do it. You really can't just go off of people saying, oh, you need to lose weight, you need to lose weight. It really has to be something within yourself that makes you want to lose weight. Okay. So now let's talk about energy balance components on page 259. All right, energy input, food behaviors. Choose your food wisely, emphasizing whole foods. Another important thing to know is that you need to choose small portions. So you need whole foods, choose them wisely, and choose small portions. That's very important to know. Energy output, exercise behaviors. All right, a regular daily exercise schedule that starts with simple walking for about a half an hour daily would be appropriate for someone who is unaccustomed to exercise. Now, in order to lose 1 pound per week, there needs to be a 500 calorie energy deficiency per day. So you got to subtract 500 calories out of your day that you normally would have eaten to maintain your weight. In order to lose weight, you have to subtract 500 calories a day in order to lose 1 pound per week. All right, the deficit is the difference between energy in and out. Okay, makes sense? Principles of a sound food plan on page 262 to 263. Let's read and review this slide. Energy balance, modifications to energy intake and output. Nutrient balance of carbohydrates, proteins, and fat proportions. Distribution balance and proportion control. Spread food throughout the day. In other words, don't just eat one big giant meal and then fast for the rest of the day. That's not going to work out well. Your body needs constant little flow of food in order to keep it healthy and maintain good nutrition. Food Guide, the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. Preventative approach. Overweight children become obese adults. So remember, if you're overfeeding your kid, they could become an obese adult. And so you really want to prevent that and give them age-appropriate, portion-appropriate sizes of food. All right, food misinformation and fads on page 264. Let's review this slide. Types of claims. Food cures. If they say this food will cure cancer, or this food will cure you from having mood swings, or whatever it is, food cures, certain foods cure specific conditions. That's misinformation and considered a fad. Harmful foods. Certain foods are harmful, so you don't want to have any misinformation or follow a fad diet on something that would be harmful to your body. Food combinations. Specific combinations restore your health. That combination eating has not proven to be effective. Natural foods, only natural foods can meet body needs. That's a fad and a misinformation as well. All right. Continued on, erroneous claims. If it claims to do this, or claims to boost your energy, or claims to do that, usually that's pretty erroneous claim. Dangers to your health. Often they're expensive. They perpetuate superstitions and distrust of the food market. Vulnerable groups are elderly people who want to cure their disease process, young people, teenagers, that sort of thing, who want to follow the latest fads to lose weight, obese persons who want to lose quick and fast the easy way and will fall for some of the fads and misinformation, athletes and coaches, and also entertainers do the same thing. So fad diets and misinformation is not a good thing, okay? All right. Underweight, page 266. 10% below the average weight for your height and age is considered underweight. General causes are wasting disease, poor food intake, malabsorption, hormonal imbalance, low energy availability, and poor living situations. Dietary treatment is high-calorie diet, high protein, high carbs, moderate fat, and good sources of vitamins and minerals. The ideal weight gain includes both lean and fat tissue. To gain muscle, physical exercise must be part of the treatment. All right, disordered eating on page 268. All right, here's some different disorders that are important to know about. Anorexia nervosa. This is an important disorder to know about. It results in self-imposed starvation. So a lot of times teenagers are associated with anorexia nervosa. They have a distorted body image and they refuse to maintain minimally accepted body weight. If you have a teenager who is showing you these kinds of signs, you would want them maybe to be seen by their doctor and tested for or discussed information about anorexia nervosa. If you have a teenager or somebody that you are involved with their medical care and they are binging, eating tons and tons of food, but they're super skinny, they always seem to have like a scratchy throat, their teeth are really bad, that could be from bulimia nervosa, because when they eat a lot and then they make themselves purge or throw up, the hydrochloric acid from their stomach is coming back up through their throat, and it also can damage their teeth, it can damage their esophagus, it can cause them to have all kinds of disorders in their gastroesophageal area. So, and their teeth sometimes will not be looking good as well. That's another sign and symptom of somebody who has long-term bulimia nervosa. So you want to monitor for people who binge and purge or have a cycle of that. Sometimes they'll eat a big meal, excuse themselves, and go into the bathroom right away. That's something to keep your eyes on, and it's something important to know about. Binge eating disorder is often follows stress and anxiety. Body dysmorphic disorder, Significant mortality rates and slow recovery with these particular disorders. Treatments involved a multidisciplinary approach, including psychosocial care.